Hello and welcome to the Let That Shift Go podcast. I'm Noel.
And I'm Lena.
And this is where we talk about the good, the bad, and all the shift in between.
We'll just talk mad shift.
Let's get into it. And on this week's episode, a shift towards balance.
Oh, I like it.
But first, let's get into these Skin Deep cards. This is the, Friends edition?
Yeah.
Let's try these out. You want to go first?
I'll go first.
Okay.
What would you want written on your tombstone and why?
Well, first, I would say I probably wouldn't want a tombstone. Like I've had some friends pass away. There's a lot of people passing away lately in this stage of life. And probably the most fond memory was of somebody like a celebration of life.
Mm-hmm.
And it wasn't at a cemetery. It was just a bunch of people telling stories and stuff like that. And that's kind of more what I would like. For me, there's just something that I would just not prefer to be in a cemetery. Just cremate me and, I don't know, probably let me go in the desert or in the ocean or something like that.
I'm with you because I will not be having a tombstone either. But what about just a couple sentences that you'd want said at your celebration of life? About you.
I don't know. I would think probably just to be still and breathe. That's probably all I would say.
Yeah. Be still and breathe.
Mm-hmm.
Great advice for any time. All right, you go now.
All right. Well, my question is, how am I most like you and how does that scare you?
Most like me. I think you say what you mean. That probably does scare me because I'm like, what is he going to say?
That makes perfect sense.
So I think, yeah, that's definitely.
Because we both are very fond of calling people forward?
Or just like, kind of not needing to audit all the time and just, I think we've gotten better about delivery.
Certainly.
But I feel like, we're probably not the people that are going to just skate around something. And so I'd say we're very much alike like that. And that does scare me at the same time. It's like, okay, all right, what is it? What's coming? So
I could say that's equally true for me because I feel you know me the best. And so if I'm going to say something, I know it's going to be real. Whatever's coming from you is going to be just like full bore. So
yeah. Or if you say something and I'm like,
oh yeah, you're going to call me out on my shit. Yeah. I walk into a room, you're like, what's going on with you?
Yeah,
no.
I'm fine. No, you're not.
No, you're not. All right, let's get into this topic.
Yeah.
A shift towards balance.
Yeah, it's well timed right now with the first of the year.
Yeah.
Here, all of us are all thinking about all the things we're going to accomplish this year and setting our goals and,
chasing the next big thing that we're going to do, a new business, new
achieving
workout.
more, chasing the next big thing. And I love that today we're going to flip the script. And I think it's due time to, celebrate our progress and find peace in the pause. And I don't think that's something that we're encouraged to do often at this time of the year.
No, like on New Year's Eve, so many people are setting New Year's resolutions. And it's, when they talk about like anxiety is about worrying about things in the future and, depression is about worrying things in the past.
Yeah.
I don't think that we ever take time to celebrate what we've done and what we accomplished that year. We're so busy trying to, okay, what are we going to do this year?
Yeah.
But I never really take the time to sit and appreciate, like, what have I done this year? Look at what I've accomplished. New Year's Eve has never been about that for me.
Yeah.
I do like sit back and like, oh, I need to get this done. And I haven't done this yet, but I don't think that it's a commonplace thing for me to do is sit back and reflect on like all the small goals or the big goals that I've achieved.
All the achievements. I know I too, I find myself thinking about, okay, these are the ways that I need to improve. Do I need to lose weight? Do I need to get stronger? Do I need to be spending more time doing this? And then, it's great to have goals and things that you're trying to accomplish, but it feels like at this time of the year, there's so much focus on getting better and improving and setting a new goal that's, out there in the future. And there's not a lot of opportunity to just be like, wow, last year was like, maybe I just survived a really hard year. Or, maybe I improved a relationship, or maybe I improved, something at work or left work and it was something I hated. Whatever that is, it's like just maybe flipping it and taking the time to look back and looking at all the wins.
Yeah, because I think you're more likely, if you look back and celebrate those wins, you're more likely to sustain the new goals because you celebrate them.
Yeah. And a lot of the things that you need to celebrate are those things you were so pushing so hard for at the first of last year.
Yeah, but it's so commonplace that, we achieve something and then we're still not happy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's the nature of expansion. Right now you have everything, hopefully a lot of the things you wished for even 5 years ago.
What's the difference between expansion and growth?
Because
you can expand into a part of yourself, but if you hadn't grown into that space, I think you're going to be unprepared.
Oh, okay. Like more embodiment.
Yeah. Because you can expand, right? You can just buy a big old house, but you got no furniture for it. Hello?
Can't pay light bills or something.
Yeah. So what about this topic really, really, resonates with you? Like sitting still, celebrating our wins, the power of reflection, kind of. Why is it so important?
Well, for me, I think one of it is letting go of perfectionism. And thinking that I need to achieve something in order to be valuable or worthy or to feel like I've done something. And that is, instead just embracing progress as opposed to, just chasing something that's outside of myself, is to constantly be in goal mode. And I just don't, I think that just is leaning towards more of like the hustle culture. And there's actually just so much more power in, stillness. And allowing yourself to slow down, to grow, and to heal. And I think right now a lot of us are being squeezed. I don't know what's going on the planet, but it feels kind of weird right now.
Yeah.
There's a lot of, I feel like we're all being squeezed and having to look at things that maybe have been uncomfortable or they've lain dormant or we've been tolerant of, and we're being squeezed to change or we're being squeezed to expand or grow. And I think that in order to do that, you need to find some stillness.
Yeah, because I think there's a lot of people that are uncomfortable,
Oh yeah.
in the world,
Yeah.
So being able to find the stillness is so incredibly important.
Yeah, because what if it's not about, I'm going to feel better when I accomplish this new thing that I think is lacking, right? I'm going to go chase this other goal. I'm going to go, whatever that is for you, whatever this New Year's resolution, if you're into that, is. What if instead you just found some time to process, to grow, to heal, what's been there all along. And right now, this time is sort of calling us to that, right? Instead of looking outward and looking for the next thing, is maybe to go inward. And I think that's what a lot of us are being called to do. I think that's why we're being squeezed the way that we are, because there's no more consumerism or goalism that's going to heal that. There's going to be a call to be able to look in. And in order to do that, you do have to have time that you practice stillness. Even the National Institutes of Health shows that, mindfulness reflection, it reduces stress, it improves emotional regulation. And many of us are not taught these practices, whether it's meditation, breath, just even being out in nature.
Yeah, I recently read a more current study with breathwork that showed it was a 72% decrease in stress with 10 minutes of breathwork.
Oh yeah. I mean, we're big proponents of breathwork, obviously.
But they're just now starting to do all these neuro testings and have all this data so that we can prove that this stuff actually helps regulate your emotions.
Oh yeah. I mean, I love this quote by Truman Fisher. He's a composer. And he says, the pause is as important as the note, even with music, right? Sometimes that pause is just as important as the note that you're hearing. It builds, the space to be able to even hear the note. And so just finding ways to find stillness in your day, to find time to calm, find a calm space, reflect, go in, is so powerful. And while we're talking about, achieving goals and all of that, I'll tell you, one of the biggest ways to be able to grow or expand is to find the stillness, is to go in. and you're being called to it. Eventually, you know, you're going to run out of things to buy or do or accomplish and realize all along you've just needed to sit with yourself, you know, and to see what's there.
And ask yourself how you're doing.
Ask yourself, how are you doing?
Self-check.
What's really important, you know, and what's in the way? And how do you move through that in a way that's, you know, where you can find presence with it? Whether it's your relationships, your job, your whatever, your relationship to yourself, your ability to love yourself. I don't know if I had to set a goal, it would be to love myself more.
Yeah.
And I don't think that's going to be because I lost 20 pounds. You know, I think it's going to be much deeper than that.
I know we talked about this before, but I think, you know, it's been kind of ingrained in us that taking care of ourselves is a chore and a burden. And it never has been instilled in us that it's a part of self-love.
Yeah. I think, you know, we talked about before probably is that I feel like most of us were brought up with the thought that self-care is selfish. And if there is one thing to change for this year is maybe that self-care is not selfish. It's actually it's the thing that you can do that benefits you and everyone around you. Well,
you know, I see a contrast between this younger generation and our generation, and they're much more mindful about self-care.
Yeah.
I mean, the younger generation, and a lot of people, you know, look at that as entitlement, and they're just you know, we have all these opinions about why they're this way and why this is important to them, and they're, you know, we have all these judgments.
We had to work so hard, and you know.
But you know, I challenge you just to, you know, instead of just judging right away, try some of these things of sitting still and being mindful and
saying no.
And saying no. Yeah, exactly. And seeing how that changes things.
Yeah. I mean, you know, the one thing that I do want to talk about is this hustle culture, right? Because I think that that's part of like what you were saying with, you know, the younger generation is that, you know, they're kind of getting away from the hustle culture and they're like, why do I need to hustle like that?
Yeah, when I was your age, I already had 2 jobs and a house, and and we're getting after them.
They're like, no thanks. You know, I don't want, that's going to lead to being very mentally unhealthy and stressed.
Yeah.
But what is hustle culture? And it refers to a lifestyle and a mindset that just emphasizes like relentless hard work, productivity, achievement at the expense of your personal well-being. And we are praised. We have been praised for that. The more self-sacrificing you are, the more praise you get.
You got time to lean, you got time to clean.
It glorifies like overworking, you know, and prioritizing your career, financial success above all else. And what is that leading us to? And it is really deeply rooted in the idea that success only comes from constant effort. Your side hustles, right? You can't just have a job. You have to have a side hustle.
Listen, I had an eye surgery done over the holidays. And so I was forced to take 10 days or 7 days off and not do anything. This guilt around downtime was a massive thing for me because I was like, I got to be doing something. I should be getting stuff done. And it was like, doc was like, no, you got to sit still, not do much, you know?
Yeah.
And
you're going to come out of your skin probably.
I was really coming out of my skin. And this hustle culture was really standing out to me today.
It's like the productivity, you know, obsession. Every moment has to be maximized, right? And why are we doing that? A lot of that is because of external validation. So it's, you know, your success is measured by your visible achievements, like your promotions, your wealth, your recognition, what you have, how you compare to everyone else. But, you know, we don't see what's going on inside and what is that actually costing you?
Yeah, tying your worth to those things.
Yeah. And like that guilt around rest. That is it, like we see it as unproductive or it's wasteful, but it's not, right? And, you know, the other thing is like a lot of social media, it perpetuates hustle culture. It showcases like images of success and nonstop work. But what is that actually costing us mentally? You know, and how much do you need? How much do you need to consume? How much do you need to produce? And, you know,
well, that comes down to like being happy with what you have, you know, and not focusing on the things you don't have. Yeah. Being present with what's here and now.
But sometimes I feel like that overworking also it's kind of a way to numb yourself against maybe what you're feeling when you're not overworking. Maybe there are emotions or relationships or even the relationship with yourself that needs to be tended to. But maybe it's painful or you don't know how to do it, but you do know how to produce, you know?
I would say a shift towards balance is kind of the name of this podcast. So when you're talking about this, we're talking about this slow living concept, right? Just like the opposite of the hustle culture, but there's got to be a balance to it. And in this last year, I noticed in 2024, and maybe a little bit in 2023, when I started doing my deep dive into myself, I started to do a lot more self-care, but my balance was a little bit off in terms of keeping up the other things. I was like, I took care of everybody else and I went into myself, but I started to shut down a little bit in terms of doing all the things that I used to do. And now at this point in 2025, I'm trying to find that balance of like, last year I kind of slowed down too much.
Like you feel like the pendulum swung way too far the other way. I think that's probably natural in some ways that you're like, I got to do the opposite. And then it's like too much. And maybe there is a happy medium. Yeah. Finding that balance for sure. There are some tips for finding balance. Some of them are just like scheduling downtime. How often have you ever just scheduled downtime for yourself?
I talked to a customer this morning and we kind of got into talking. He was like, how you doing? Happy New Year and all these things. And he was like, I'm just trying to take it easy. And he talked about his daughter's schedule 30 minutes of meditation every single morning at 6 a.m. before they get their day going. And he started doing that and it's changed his life.
Yeah.
And it was, scheduling these things, making it a part of your routine. I
mean, I'm very task oriented. So what works for me is to actually put it on my calendar because then it's like, I am accountable to myself. Like I'm looking at it, it's telling me that I've blocked off time and then I can do it. But it's also not looking at it as it's a luxury. It's actually essential. I mean, for sustainable productivity.
Well, so it's like brushing your teeth's a burden. This self-care feels like, it's a burden somehow.
Yeah, but it's actually one of the most valuable things that you can do for yourself because what happens otherwise is burnout.
Yeah, that's why these, retreats and mental wealth, mental health.
Mental wealth. Well, it is mental wealth.
It is mental wealth. Yeah, you're right. Mental wellness.
I think we need to recoin that mental wealth.
Yeah, catchphrase. Yeah, I mean, I think we just need to really grasp what's going on and step back a little bit so we can find that balance because like you said, the pendulum can shift. And I found myself sometimes because I was dealing with stuff so hard that and instead of staying busy with my work like I used to, sometimes I was avoiding, and kind of just hiding from myself in ways because that stillness was very uncomfortable.
Oh yeah. And that's what I mean. Like you can go into workaholic, because it's like, instead of alcoholic, you just workaholic. And then you can get so busy that you don't have to feel your stuff. But that stuff is just going to wait for you.
Yeah.
Now you're just putting it on deferred payments. And it shows up as anxiety and back pain and all these other things, the root cause. So another thing is you can set boundaries. So like even defining a clear start and end time for work, like I'm going to start at this time and I'm going to end at this time. That's it.
Yeah.
And that's not always easy.
No, but it's even super helpful because I did that.
Yeah.
I stopped working Saturdays and working past, a certain time at nighttime. It was like, this is my cutoff. And I used to work till 9, 10 o'clock at night, just doing whatever because it's a repair. And then now I got to be home with my family. And that has had a financial impact on me because I don't grind as hard as I have.
Yeah.
And so that's part of that thing, like, okay, find the balance then.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because I was such a grinder before and I was praised for that.
Yes.
But at home, the toll was being taken on my family with my mental health.
Yeah. It's not part of your long-term goal is to, have a family that's not mentally healthy, have yourself not be mentally healthy, or even, just your physical health.
Yeah, even me, before I leave every morning, I have to do some breath work. I do my 10, 20, 30.
Yeah.
But sometimes I'm like, I got to go. I got to get to this appointment. And I got all these things going. And I go, nope, doesn't matter. I'm first. It doesn't matter if I'm 10 minutes late. I'm going to do some breath work. I'll just tell them, I got stuck in traffic or whatever.
Or like, no, I'm just going to be there at this time.
Yeah, or plan better. That's all. Build in a routine is what we're saying. Because
like make yourself a priority.
Yeah.
The other one is redefining success. Because how have you determined what success looks like?
Do you have a definition of success for yourself?
Now, my definition of success now is how I feel mentally, and also how much time do I get with my family, and how much time do I get to do the things that bring me joy, right? And also, like, how am I in service to others as well for myself? That's part of my definition of success. But I think it's, for a lot of people, it's redefining what success is, because it used to be, well, I want to be able to have this much in my 401k. I need to have this many properties, or I would like to be driving this vehicle, because I thought that success was measured by outward appearances on some level. But that only goes so far. Once you get all those things and you're like, why am I not happy? It's like, maybe because that's not actually the measure of success. And so redefining success to reflect on more of your personal values and really create goals that align with that deeper purpose. That could be a new measure of success.
Building mental wealth.
Yeah. Yeah. But I think, and even just in order to even get in touch with what that is for you takes some stillness. It takes some self-reflection to see what is actually important to me. Is what's important to me to have time to do homework with my kid? Is it important to me that they know that I'm available to them? Is it important to me to nurture my relationships? Or is it more important to me that I'm giving them all the things that I think that they want?
Yes, that's something that I reflect back on, because my kids are grown also now. And I really have this regret, I guess it's a regret, about not coaching or being involved. And it was all about my own self-judgment and feeling I wasn't good enough to be a coach or any of those things. But I felt it would have been a better way to be connected with my kids in sports, and just contributing in that way. But I was working so much that I wasn't, I showed up to all the games, but I wasn't going to be a coach. Yeah. And I see some of the coaches and what they do with young people today. And it does, there's some intangibles that create dynamics of working together with different types of energies, people, and all of those things. Different sports bring different types of people. And I've been fortunate for my kids to play several different types of sports, and every sport's so different and how they react to them and what they get from it is so different. And so in that way, that's just one of the things that I wish I would have been able to do. To
be able to participate more. That have been a priority.
Yeah, but so you don't want to look back and go, man, I wish I would have done. And I'm doing that now.
Yeah, so if you're listening to this right now, and that's a possibility for you, like, take a moment, go for it. Ask yourself, is this what's important to me? Like, what is the most important thing to me? When you're on your deathbed, are you going to say, I wish I would have worked a few more hours?
Yeah, because your kids don't give a crap about the boat and this and that and all the fancy things, and they'll still find a way to be disappointed.
Yeah, I think that this is
the level of interaction or love or whatever they interpret.
Those are the things they actually can take with them.
And not only that, but the stress involved with not having that balance has a negative impact on the dynamics of your family.
Yes, it does.
As a whole, big picture.
Yeah, it does. It does. The other one is to incorporate, joyful activity. So, like, making space for your hobbies or the things that bring you, like, actual, genuine joy. So unrelated to work. Okay, so many of us do enjoy work, absolutely. But what is the thing that actually brings you joy? What is that thing? And you got to make space for it. It's not just like the thing that you get to do with your leftover time. No,
something you do and you could lose hours of time and go, oh my gosh, I can't. It shouldn't be a TV show, I guess. It has to be, I guess it could be, whatever that is for you.
It's probably not high on the list, but like even like spending time in nature or, a creative outlet. A creative outlet is always
art. Yeah, some
art.
Sort of art. Yeah.
Yeah, journaling, painting, just something that you can just reconnect with yourself, or something that actually feels like play. Like when you were a kid and you were on the playground or you're out, just having a good time. You weren't worried about the mortgage and all that stuff. It's just what actually ignites in you a feeling of play or a feeling of wonder, whether that's traveling or hiking or being with animals, whatever it is. Just connect with yourself on what is it that brings you joy. When's the last time you felt joy?
And schedule that in.
How do you get more of that? That actually pays you in dividends. You may not see it as, dollar notes in your bank account, but you'll feel it in your mental wealth. Will feel it.
And it's just as valuable as the stillness.
Yes.
Because that's also a balance.
Yeah. Yeah. And really, mindful productivity. It's like just focusing on doing things well instead of doing more things, or everything at once. I think that's another one. But yeah, this hustle culture thing is like, I think that's something to really be mindful of, that it's out there. A lot of us are probably doing it, but we're just not aware of it.
Yeah. It's kind of been bred into the culture.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. So the other thing is, when you're talking about progress, like even small, imperfect steps that can build confidence and momentum. So maybe, if you're looking back, you're reflecting on what's happened during the year, what things are you celebrating? And of course, there's going to be parts of you that wants to take steps to, grow and expand in the coming year. The thing to let go of is perfectionism, and just being able to take small steps, not without the whole hustle culture mentality of just being able to build confidence and momentum and things. And, I love the quote by Sheryl Sandberg, and she says, "Done is better than perfect."
Yeah.
Just taking a step, celebrating small wins, big and small, like when you're looking back over this year, and trying to shift your mindset, like what are the things that you want to celebrate? What are the things that you're proud of? We talked about not just that there was some, major change. It could be that, like we said, you just survived a hard year, and
or really, you improved a relationship.
Yeah. I mean, all of those things are worth celebrating, because you don't lose, you either win or you learn.
Or maybe you take a small step in a career or towards a career.
Yeah.
There's so many things.
Or out of a career that you hate, like I don't think you incarnated on this planet to dread anything. That was one of the big reasons that I knew I wasn't in the right place anymore.
Yeah. And what makes it scary to leap into something like that is that I think a lot of, at least for myself, I lost faith in myself, because you lost faith, and I really lost faith in my ability to survive or to cope with something new and challenging, or, all of those things are just so scary.
Yeah. Yeah. But you do it anyway. Do it scared.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we talked about too, is like wanting to maybe lead a breathwork practice.
Yeah.
Just to kind of clear out and focus in. And so if those of you that are listening and you're not driving, or maybe you save this for later, but just find yourself in a still spot. Just close your eyes down and just start to connect with your breath. Just notice it coming in and through and out, noticing the temperature of your breath. We'll give you a minute to find this space for yourself. Just eyes closed, feeling the ground beneath you or the seat beneath you, feeling even the heaviness of your body. And just start to take a long, deep inhale in. Maybe open mouth. Using your breath like a broom, sweeping through your body. Sweeping through any stress, any tension, anywhere you're noticing that. And with every exhale, just letting it all go, letting go of the need to do it perfectly. Long, deep inhale in, and I want you to hold here. Holding here and finding stillness. Just noticing the thoughts, letting them just be there. Connecting with the beat of your heart. And look how far you've come, not how far you have to go. Exhale. Let that breath go. And as you go through this week, I want you to remember to honor your journey, to pause and appreciate the moment, and let that shift go.
All right. That's been another episode of Let That Shift Go podcast. I'm Noel.
And I'm Lena. Let us know what your questions are, and we'd love to use them on a future episode. Or check us out on Insta at Let That Shift Go, or visit our website, serenitycovetemecula.com.